ये बढ़िया है. Now 3, 2, 1, boom. We are officially live. Thanks Suresh for doing this. We had an Instagram live
Thanks a lot.
a few weeks ago. I really enjoyed it. It really meant a lot to me, and I'm really excited to have you on my show today.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome. So I mean, we had a pretty awesome time in that live session. Like we spoke a lot about different kinds of bugs and all sorts of secret tricks and
Mhm.
your advice to students. Um,
Mhm.
but still, how would you introduce yourself to anybody who doesn't know who Suresh Devrari is?
I mean, that's not something matter that who is Suresh Devrari. It is something matter that how many people I can help. Like I have my Quora channel where I actually help a lot of people in cybersecurity. People ask me question there and I actually answer, and I love to do that. From the past 5 to 6 years, I'm answering all the cybersecurity questions on my Quora page, and it is almost like 400 question on my profile. Eventually, it is the highest ranking profile in Quora for cybersecurity answers. So if you just visit my profile Quora, and you will get a lot of knowledge about cybersecurity. So a lot of topics that how to get into the industry, and what are the things that you need to learn, and how to choose the path. And yeah, there's a lot of tricks actually I have cleared, and there's a lot of things actually. So it is not about me in this. It is more about that how many people I can help, and what people can actually learn from my side. So that's
Wow.
something matters for me.
So wait, how long have you been answering people's questions on Quora?
It is like 5 to 6 years, 5 to 6 years now.
Wow.
And
How
I
did
have
how
a
did
YouTube channel as well.
you have a YouTube
And
channel?
where I actually, yeah, I have a YouTube channel where I actually upload a couple of videos about cybersecurity tricks and tips. And it is almost like 8 to 9 years since I'm doing so in my YouTube channel. But yeah, a lot of videos actually got deleted from YouTube due to the policies and privacy issue. So
Yeah,
actually
I mean,
YouTube do
I
not
find that
allow
so
you to
funny.
upload
You know,
hacking
I find
kind
that
of
very
videos.
funny. I mean, like, there was a time when people said that, hey, going to school, you shouldn't send kids to school because they would question the government. Now they're like, don't teach people how the computers work because they can misuse it or they can use it for the benefit. I mean, the way I see it,
Yeah,
the ones who want to
exactly. Yeah.
learn, they will learn from whatever means they have. They don't need YouTube specifically. They will figure a way out to learn what they want to do, good or bad. So I mean, it's not going to
Exactly.
stop
If
anything.
you want to learn something, you will find your way. You will find a path to, do that. Exactly. It's not like, you have a lack of resources, and, that's just an excuse. Eventually, in a world like this, where you're getting the 1.5 GB data per day, and if you're saying that, I have a lot of lack of resources, then it's a lie, actually. You're not using your 1.5 GB data per day in a right directions.
What was your journey like? How did you get into this madness?
So when I was in intermediate and high school, I actually, basically it is in the newspaper. I've gone through a news that saying like somebody hacked into the bank account. So that time I've realized so much, interesting thing, that how somebody can hack into the bank account. And I was really excited to do the exact same thing. And obviously most of the people actually love to do that.
Huh.
So I was really excited, and I was a kind of geek. I started searching over the internet how to hack into the bank account. I was a newbie, and what a newbie do is just search for the tricks. So soon I realized it is not a trick. Hacking is not a trick. It is not something you can learn. For example, if you have to make a Maggie, and then you can watch some videos and you get to learn that how to make a Maggie in 5 minutes. So it is not like that you can learn in one day or 1 year. It is a lifelong journey. You have to learn a lot of things to become a successful hacker, or become a good hacker. So I realized, even if I have the knowledge, I won't have the degree, so I won't get a job. So I realized it is good to have a degree in the computer science in order to get a job in the industry. And after that, I joined a college and I did my BCA in 2012. I joined a college in MIT University and I did my BCA because I came to know that it is more important to get a computer science degree to get a job in the industry. So if I say I have a hacking knowledge, I have a cybersecurity knowledge, and I'm intermediate pass out, nobody is gonna hire me because I don't
True.
have a professional degree, and that is very important.
A professional
So
degree is a
to
must.
showcase your talent and yeah, to showcase your talent and to get into the path, you must have a degree. So I did my BCA, and it was almost like 10 years now since I was in this field and I started learning hacking and cyber security kind of thing. Well, that time the India was not introduced to the hacking world. So if you search in the market cybersecurity jobs before 10 years back, you might get nothing. I mean, the search result is zero. You will find nothing, like nobody was hiring for the cybersecurity role before 10 years back, because
Hmm.
yeah, it is quite new in India, and it was really introduced. Cybersecurity is introduced, I think, 4 5 years back. Now there's a lot of companies hiring for the cybersecurity roles, and I love that. Yeah, because the company is now very conscious about security and the data security, privacy, and yeah, cyber world basically.
Yeah, companies have become
So
like paranoid about
yes,
their
yes.
security, so they hire professionals.
Yeah, now they are conscious about that. But before 10 years back, nobody knows that. There were some tools like SIEM tools, and yeah, some event management tool that is being used by the company, but it was not clear cut, or the vulnerability assessment or penetration testing that I talked about. So it was not like that. So before 10 years back, I realized that if I choose my career as a cybersecurity, it would be really great. And obviously, I knew that would be really hard to get a job in this industry because nobody was hiring that time. But I made my path, and I finally I decided to move on to this field. And I never I never actually attended a single interview of programming language. I never went to the interview. I mean, my college
Okay.
campus, there's a
Yeah.
lot of company
So
came
you
into
didn't apply
my
for
college
placements in
campus.
college.
No, because nobody was hiring for the cybersecurity role, and I was only
Hmm.
interested in cybersecurity. I want to move into that part, and that is the only thing that I can, work with, and that would I find myself with, I would find myself comfortable with, actually.
Right. How did you
So that
feel
is
when
the
you saw
basic.
your friends getting placed? How did you feel like your friends were getting placed? But did you kind of
Sometime yeah. So when a lot of guys actually got selected in a lot of companies, I I was disappointed. Some part of you, people say that why you're not selected and why don't you apply for a job. It was like I believe in myself, that I would get a job in the cybersecurity field one day. But it was like I was studying BCA, and then when I completed my BCA, I thought it is good to have a MCA degree as well. Then I moved to the MCA, from the DIT University. I did my MCA, and during that time of period, I realized that I answered the lot of question that I answered during my MC and my Quora channel. And also I helped a lot of people that time. So I started teaching online for the cyber security. And when I completed my MC, I get a lot of opportunity to take seminars in colleges and engineering college. Eventually have taken a lot of seminars in engineering colleges, online student. Eventually, I have a course on Udemy as well. But yeah, actually, I sold that out to somebody else, so it is not listed with my name. But yeah, that is my course. So
uh-huh.
that's like why I choose cyber security, especially. So when I actually started, learning cyber security, I realized it is. I thought that when I go for the BCA degree, I would learn cybersecurity hacking kind of things in the colleges, and there
Hmm.
might be a subject for that cybersecurity. I found nothing. I mean, there is no subject related to cybersecurity. Then I search over the internet how to get into this field, how to make career in cybersecurity field.
Because I
Then I
don't think
realized that there's a lot of
cybersecurity
things.
is something you go to college for. Cybersecurity and hacking is something you get kicked out of college for, right?
Yeah, then I realized actually I made a quotation for myself, and that's not just a quotation, it's the answer. If somebody asks you that how to how to how to become a hacker, then that's the answer
Hmm.
as well, but it is the quotation that I've made in my life before, I think 4 5 years back. The quotation is: the simplest way to learn hacking, the simplest way is to learn hacking is to understand the technology, that how it works.
Hmm.
So I was very wrong that I wanted to learn hacking that time, but I didn't know anything about programming languages, that how a computer works, how our internet works. When I type um, google.com in the browser, how does this work? How it is showing google.com? Why it is not showing facebook.com? I mean, computer do not understand English language. We know that it is understand by the binary language 0101. So how it is getting google.com? So there's a lot of question in my mind, and I started finding each and every answers, and I started learning tricks like how to do this thing in computer, how to do this thing in Windows, how to crack password of Windows, how to bypass password, how to change settings. I mean, like crazy, like you're searching for crazy things. So
Hmm.
I started learning that way, and then I realized that when I mix all the skills together, then it will become a hacking skills.
Hmm.
So it would be a lot of easier for you to learn hacking. So if you're going to learn hacking, if you have all these skills ready, like programming languages skills, programming logics, and networking, and Linux commands, and how to host a website. So if you want to hack into the website, you must know that how to create a website, right?
Hmm.
If you want to unlock a door, unlock a lock with without a key, then you should know that how a lock works. When you plug a key into the lock, and you just move your hand, so what happens inside the lock? So you should
Correct.
know actually that how it works. Then only way you can bypass that thing, and you can find a way or find a trick to bypass that particular thing. That is more important, to learn about the technology, that how something works.
That's a true way of learning how technology works. Man, like I
Yeah.
really like like you've been dedicated on this path for a very long time, since a period where this never existed. I mean, this was always your interest. Like you may didn't even know if, like, did you ever have this doubt that it may not be a path in the future?
No, because I believe that the word is going to be in the cybersecurity directions. Because before 10 years back, I realized as people are moving toward the online payments. 10 years back, people started doing the credit card and debit card transactions online. They actually used to recharge their cell phone with the debit card. Now we have the UPI, now we have the internet banking, now we have the a lot of people have the credit cards. So I realized that people are moving towards the online transaction. So in the future, I thought that the word is going to be a cybersecurity word, because the company who, suppose you have a website, and you have all your business on your website, and your website is online and that is not secure, your game is over. So that's a whole game that I
Mm-hmm.
thought it is going to be a future.
Hmm. I remember we speaking about SQL injections. I mean, somebody gets in, it's game over.
Yes, SQL injection is actually that it is about the databases. I mean, suppose a website is connected with the databases, you log in into the
Hmm.
website, and Maybe you're searching something into the databases that there's something like um, find find people on Facebook maybe. So you're finding someone on Facebook search engine, so maybe it is connected with the database and at the back end. So basically SQL injection can bypass that login page. If you're talking about the login, I mean that's a SQL post method. Basically there's
Hmm.
a lot of type of SQL injections, but I'm talking about the post method SQL injection. So basically you go to the website, there's a login panel and password, you put something in the username and password, and you just bypass that login panel. And yeah, you maybe do not know about the password or username, still you're logged in. So that's a SQL you talked about.
Right. So I mean, how do you think companies protect themselves against SQL injection attacks if they do?
Yeah, actually, okay, so there is a lot of implementation that should be taken actually. For example, if you're taking any input on the username and password, you should be make sure that the user input should be sanitized and properly checked for the SQL injection. I mean, it should not get connected with the databases, and I mean you should have to make sure that the user is not playing with the SQL syntax basically. So
Hmm.
you have to validate the user input. That's basically the one thing that they can actually check for the SQL injections. And most of the company actually aware about that. So you might not gonna find SQL injection a lot in a word like this. I mean, there's a lot of companies secure. But if I talk about 2011 when I was learning, uh, I was very unlucky. I mean, the knowledge I have today, if I have this knowledge, the same knowledge I had in 2011, I might have hacked into the Facebook. because because Facebook was vulnerable to SQL injection in 2011. Facebook
Hmm.
was vulnerable to SQL injection, so you can actually log in into someone else account by using
Hmm.
just simple. I mean, one equals to one. Basically, just have to put the one equals to one syntax, and the game is over. I mean, that time 2011, it was vulnerable to SQL injections.
Hmm.
2010 or 2011, yeah,
At that around that time, I think I read about this. Even you
yeah.
told me about this, and I read about this somewhere.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, even if
Yes, I
even
think
big companies
I
like
told you
Facebook
about.
can be vulnerable to SQL injection attacks.
Yeah, yeah, SQL injection before 10 years back.
Hmm. Right. So like, how did you ever land your first job? Like, how was your first job like?
Um, it was like it was very paining actually. I mean, seriously, I visited a lot of companies and I requested a lot of companies and I was rejected
Hmm.
because everybody was hiring for experience role. I mean, seriously, everybody was hiring for 2 years experience, 1 year's experience, and how would I get the experience without getting a company? So it was really fantastic. I mean, frustrating. But yeah, I've showed a lot of things like, I made a pen drive. I made a, I made a pen drive with um, Arduino device. So Arduino is a microcontroller device. Basically, what is a microcontroller? So microcontroller is a mini computer, you can say, the CPU that you have. So basically, once you plug into the computer, the Arduino device, it takes over. It takes control over your keyboard, and it can hit a random things in from your keyboard. So
Hmm.
basically if I plug in another keyboard in your computer, so I can actually type. I can type from my keyboard to your computer. I can give input to your computer, right? So
Hmm.
from that way I made a pen drive Arduino device, and I injected a script that can open your Facebook account if that's logged in. And a lot of people actually left Facebook without logout. I mean, they cut the browser without logout, the facebook.com or
Yes.
gmail.com. because it is quite annoying that you go to the website, gmail.com, then you logged in with your Gmail password, because people know that that's their computer. There's no problem
Mm-hmm.
to you know log out. I mean, nobody is gonna touch that computer, right? So
Right.
that's a worst thing I thought about. So I made a script and I injected that script into that pen drive, and when somebody plug in that pen drive, it is going to open up their browser and hit facebook.com, and obviously Facebook is logged in, so it is going to log in with the Facebook account, and it will go to your profile and paste a status that is written in my script, that you have been hacked by Suresh Devrari. And it is just a matter of second. I mean, in the just 15 second, it's gonna do all these kind of things. So I made this pen drive. I showcased this pen drive in my first interview, and I mean, in the first company that I've got selected. And yeah, it was really impressive that I've made this pen drive. Eventually they don't have any work, like they have to make another pen drive, or they may have to
Mm-hmm.
make other pen drive or more pen drive like that. They don't have any work like that, but yeah, they selected me on that behalf.
Wow. So basically, you made an. But what language did you use to script the device?
It's a basically, and that's a rubber ducky script. Rubber ducky script. And basically you have to convert that script into the C language. So basically
Okay.
that's a C language, and the header that is used is keyboard.h.
Keyboard.h.
Yeah, just like in the C language we write studio.h,
Ah,
if you remember. So we have
right.
to write is keyboard.h.
Keyboard.h. Okay,
Yeah,
that's the header.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's a header we have to use.
Okay. Sure. I mean, it seems pretty interesting to make something. Like, wait, I think I'll just put a picture in this, like of your rubber ducky. If I have the image on the computer, I think I'll put it up there.
Um, yes, I do have.
Oh, you have it right here. Damn.
Yeah, this actually I made this pen drive, and everything I did is just is right from shouldering to if you can see, I just tape on it. It looks like a generous pen drive because I made this pen drive myself. I'm with my bare hands, so
Hmm.
it looks like a generous pen drive. But obviously, if I if I just go to any manufacturer company, and if I order something like I have to insert this chip into a pen drive, then they will do this professionally, and I will get the real looks pen drive. And yeah.
Hmm. Right. But man, I mean, it's pretty awesome, man. You made a pen drive from scratch all by yourself.
Yes,
So what was your
just
boss's
by learning from Google. And
you learned from
you
Google,
know
like.
actually that was not the first thing. I'm not saying that I've researched this thing in the world. It is not like that. Actually, this pen drive was available on Hack 5. Hack 5 is a website, is a company who who is making the cybersecurity product, hacking product.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a lot of product in cybersecurity, and one of the product is rubber ducky pen drive. So this pen drive, but this pen drive
Wow.
is almost cost around 10,000 to 15,000 rupees in India. But I made this pen drive in 600 rupees only.
Wow.
The
So like
only
what?
difference that I have is they are selling this pen drive online, and I made this pen drive myself. I mean, I don't have that pen drive, but still I didn't copy it. I just started and doing this from scratch, and I made this pen drive finally.
Mm-hmm. So like what did your employer do with the pen drive then? Like when you shared it with him, what did he do with it?
uh, just like we can say, we can do anything. I mean, really, we can insert a malware into any computer, and we can get a reversal back to our computer. So
Mm-hmm.
for example, if I inject this pen drive in your computer, a malware is gonna install on your computer, and I take over I take control over your computer. I can turn on your camera and I can do pretty much
Right.
everything. I mean, very. So for example, if I say, Ishan, can you just plug in this pen drive? Obviously, you will not plug in this pen drive because you will thought something's gonna bad happen because how
Mm.
he's saying like that. Can you insert? So obviously, it won't work like that. So what I can do, I can say, hey Ishan, do you have this movie? I mean, what I know that you must have. So do you have this movie? Can you please share this movie to me? So obviously we'll say, okay, I will just copy to your pen drive. Then I will say, just copy that movie in this pen drive, and it will plug
Mm.
in. So that's how it works. Actually, I never target anybody, but yeah, I'm sure that it will work.
Yeah, man. You can. I think yeah, it would definitely work. I mean, I just want to ask anybody who's watching this: have you ever picked up a pen drive fallen on the street? Like that is such a common thing. Like I mean, I did that once as a kid, and luckily nothing happened. But yeah, I did that as a kid.
No,
I found
that matters. I mean, you're talking about, yeah. Did anybody get a pen drive on the street? So if I made this pen drive, I will not throw it on the street because I know there's a lot of unuseless guys gonna pick this up and they're gonna plug in this pen drive in their computer, and I would
hmm,
get nothing. So what I will do, I will drop this pen drive in Google Office because I know
okay.
there's a lot of important person are there. So if those person is are gonna insert this pen drive into their computer, then maybe I
Hmm.
will get some money.
I mean, that's
So
why
I
like, my
will.
school and college IT policy, like it disbarred us from inserting any pen drives in the teachers' computers. We had to go to their IT room and plug whatever we wanted in front of them, and they would centrally transfer whatever images we wanted. Let's say we have a PPT in school, so we had to just
Mm,
like submit our pen drive to the IT department, and they would just plug it in and centrally transfer the presentation to the teacher's computer.
mhm,
We weren't even allowed to plug it in directly. I mean, they would find out if you do. I mean, they could track everything. So, I mean, the second you
mm,
did, within 10 minutes, they would come to your room asking, "What are you doing here?"
mm.
Yeah. So that was our school policy, right? So, I mean, recently there's been this massive boom in students to become ethical hackers, right? I mean, I think just about yesterday I was reading about this guy. I think Mayur is his name, right? This I think I just look up his name over here. Uh, he got a bug bounty for what's his name? I think his name is Mayur. What's his full name? Mayur Fartade. Right. So Mayur Fartade just made 22 lakhs for discovering and reporting malicious bugs in the Facebook owned photo sharing platform Instagram. The discovered bug allowed anyone to
Mhm,
view archived posts, stories, reels, and IGTV without following user, and even when the profile is private. Due to this bug, it would have been very easy for hackers to gain illegal access to private details like pictures, videos of users without following them. So
mm.
I mean, the point here is that again, like it was a pretty huge bug, and he also made 22 lakhs. So, what are your thoughts on this?
So what I believe is, the bug is more about the more about the how you exploit the certain functions. I mean, the non-conventional way of using a computer system.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of people actually got confused with non-conventional way of using a computer system. So let me tell you, a conventional way of using a computer system is that most of the people do. For example, you have a website, Instagram.com. Go
Hmm.
to the Instagram and log into with your username and password. Get logged into the website. You're browsing through the Instagram. You're watching videos and you are posting comments. That's a conventional way of using any website. That's a conventional way. The
Right.
non-conventional way is trying something different. I mean, for example, you are visiting a page, Facebook page or Instagram page, you're not the admin of that page. But
Mm-hmm.
anyhow, if you can remove someone from that page, that is a non-conventional way. You are exploiting that function that is not intended to. I mean, you are not
Mm-hmm.
intended to remove somebody's from that group or from that page, because you are not authorized, you're not the admin of that page. But if you can do that, that's a vulnerability. So that is the same thing that that person actually found, that he can see the archives, and he talked about.
Hmm. And I mean, that's the thing. Like you just explained it in simple words, like what bugs are like. My fear right now is
Yeah,
that
most of the
again.
bugs related to the facebook.com, it is not like you hacked on the server. It is not possible, or it is very going to be hard when you want to hack into the facebook server, or you
Mhm.
take over the control of all the facebook entities, or things that they have. So it is not so important to control or take over the full control. It is more important if you can find any non-conventional way of using a facebook.com, just like I
Right.
talked about, a non-conventional way. I mean, you are exploiting the functions. The function is that is made for the policy, made with the policy. Like, you have the page, and if you're the admin of the page, you can add, remove, or post something. So that's a policy for you. Because you are
Hmm.
the admin. But if you're not admin, you're not authorized to. You're not intended to do that. But if you can do
Right.
that, that's a vulnerability. You're exploiting that function.
That's true. I mean, like this guy just made 22 lakhs. My fear is that a lot of people are going to see, like, oh my God, this guy made 22 lakhs on just one bug. When I'm going to get into ethical hacking, I'm going to Google the word at how to become ethical hacker today. And obviously, there are some people out there who have used SEO to sell me a course. And I mean, like,
Mhm.
let's say somebody even does a free course. First of all, a free course on um YouTube on ethical hacking won't be possible. I think YouTube would take it down the second something put something like that up. What do you think about that?
No, YouTube will take it down, definitely.
Right. I mean, and so the
But
ones that are up there are garbage. Like let's say somebody says cyber security course. So like there are 8 hour courses, but
mhm.
they're nothing about the real cyber security. They'll give you like GK and knowledge. But okay, how many types of attacks are there? What is a black hat
See, that
hacker?
is that is that is also important. I'm not saying that is not
Hmm.
important. That is also important, but people are paying money because that resources can be available free online. I mean, you
Right.
can find those resources on YouTube, on Google. The people
Hmm.
that the people who are paying for that, they want some realistic things that can help in their real world. So that is most important. And by the way,
Right.
I have a website, hacktify.com. And I started this company in January this year. And I'm making a course, I'm making a cybersecurity course, um, especially in penetration testing, web
Hmm.
exploitation. So I'm making a course on that. Soon it will be available on my website. My website is ready, hacktify.com. You can just flash on
Mm.
this
Right.
live channel.
Hacktify, HAKTIFY. That
So you are
Hacktify.
advertising myself.
No, I mean, see, I put the website up on the YouTube video. I'm doing this for the podcast, the audio. I spelled it out for
Okay,
them. So
okay.
like they'll have a basic idea of like where they can just look for your work, right? And
Yeah,
like
Hacktify basically, I'm offering a cybersecurity course, and exactly you talked about that. That is more about GK and knowledge. So in each of my videos, I never talked about the GK and knowledge, because I've cleared almost everything right from scratch. So I talked about the vulnerability and live attacks. So whatever the things is going to happen in my hacktify.com is going to be extremely legal. But it is not like I want everybody to become a illegal hacker or unethical hacker. Obviously this is just to teach them, and um, just get in touch with the real world,
right,
so
to
they
get them
can
in touch with the real world. You want people to be in
yeah,
touch with the real world to understand how. these devices work.
Yeah, yeah, how these things work in the real world.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I mean, again, like, what's the price for the course?
I haven't decided the price, but for the time being, I'm selling this course in USA for $50. So it is almost like 3,500 rupees in India. But that's a
Okay.
certification course. You will get the certificate by Hacktify. So we'll get the course completion certificate at the end
Hmm.
of the course. Automatically, it will generate on my website, and you can showcase that certification or certificate for your interview. So it is not that much amount that you are getting a certificate, plus you are getting the real world knowledge. I mean, I'm very sure if you take my course and you go to the any interview of fresher, I'm 100% sure you would get selected. 100% sure. Otherwise, I will refund your money.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is very, I'm very, very sure. I mean, I talked about all the attacks, not only just attacks, and it is not like, I just tap on my keyboard and tick, 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 hacked. It is not
Hmm.
only I talked about hacking. It is just, I actually cleared everything. I mean, right from scratch, I talked about. So I cleared everything, every doubt, every single things. I mean, what is HTTP, what is HTTPS, every single thing, how a website works, everything. So whatever I mean, the people who are going to ask about in any of the interview for vulnerability assessment penetration testing, you're going to crack
Hmm.
all the interviews, because all the questions answer is actually available in my all videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like you started this thing in January, right? So like you have an entire course out
Yeah,
there.
I started this thing and I made this pen drive. I mean, sorry, I made this website myself. So there is no developer. I mean, I'm the only person in as a company, as a founder, as a CEO. So I'm the only person in this company. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I started
Sorry.
this, as a startup. So let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm. So wow, man.
And the
So
page can be found on LinkedIn. You can find that Hacktify page on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, Facebook, all the social media website.
okay. Okay, just like I think we'll just do a few more questions,
Yeah,
and then I think like we still have time, and then we'll wrap this
yeah.
up in like 15, another 15 minutes, I guess. So again, like we're talking about the rise of ethical hackers and other cybersecurity experts in India. What do you think of, is going to be the future of cybersecurity in India as an industry, and the demand, like the real necessity for Indian companies to invest in cybersecurity and scope for professionals?
So if you just search top 10 highest paid profile in the world, I'm not only just talking about India, I'm talking about the world. So if you just search
Mm-hmm.
top 10 IT jobs, top 10 highest paid profile
Mm-hmm.
in the world, you will find cybersecurity at the third or second place. So that is the
Right,
first thing. Cybersecurity is going to be extremely, extremely demandable in the future.
right.
The future of cybersecurity is so bright. I mean, but don't choose it if you're not interested. I mean, don't choose this because it is I mean, highly in the demand. Just don't choose it for that reason. Because if you are expert in graphics, if you are expert in video editing, just go for that, because you can do better in that career, in that particular thing. If you are expert in programming, go for programming, become a developer, become a software engineer. Don't, it is not like become a hacker, or it is not important to become a cyber expert. If you're not interested, then just you know just do not think that you want to be a hacker. Just
Mm-hmm.
become whatever you want, whatever you think that you can do. So that is more important. I mean, if you're not serious about that, you will lose at the end. I
I
mean,
mean, I
I've
think
seen a
that's
lot
true
of people
for
who are not
any field.
actually. Yeah, it is true for any field. I mean, seriously, it is. I've seen a lot of people who do the engineering and they are not actually interested in engineering. And I've
Mm.
seen a lot of people who are doing traditional courses like BSc or BCom, and they are not actually interested in that courses. They want to become an engineer, they want to become doctors, but they chosen the wrong career, and that is very bad.
Mm-hmm. Let's just hope that people take the right path.
Yeah, exactly, that's the first thing. So anything, if you choose the graphical, I mean, if you're very expert in graphics design, and if you've chosen that as your career, you will definitely achieve. Eventually that's not a future of graphic, but you will achieve yourself because you are passionate about that. And the person who is passionate, they will find their path. Eventually there is no path, they will make their path.
Eventually, there's no path, they'll make their path. I like
Yeah.
that. Like, you said that or somebody else said that?
I
Okay. I think I'll agree with you for this one. Like, maybe I'll just look this one up. They'll just see who said that first.
no, I made this up myself.
Fun. Okay. Uh
I do not copy paste.
right. I just had like how would like what roadmap would you suggest anybody who's just starting out? Like, I don't want to use the word just starting out, because the ones who would really come to you with that question, I think they would already have a base core foundation on what they want to do. But like, still, how would you like tell them to go around what they should have done, like as a proper framework
Mhm.
in cybersecurity?
So first, I think the people should learn the basics of computer science. I mean, how things works. And the second thing they should learn is start the networking. What actually everybody has their own way to start something or learn
Mm,
something, but it is something that recommended by myself. And how actually I learned. So first I learned about the networking. I mean, not the networking like you don't have to configure the routers and switches, but you should know what is router, what is switches, what is public IP, what is private IP, what
mm,
is static IP, what is dynamic IP, and everything like DNS, what is DNS, what is reverse DNS, and what is host name, how a website can be made. Obviously you're going to hack into the website and you don't know that how to make a website. Seriously, I mean, how can you hack something that you don't know? So I will highly recommend each and everyone who is watching this video, at least make a website and make it live. Just do it live. I mean, host it live anywhere. You can just take Amazon AWS server, and it is 1 year free, so you can take the advantage of that 1 year free service by Amazon AWS, and you can host your website. That is, you can take your domain for 199 rupees, and that is almost like negotiable. I mean, obviously you can invest 200 or 500 rupees on yourself. So I will highly recommend each and everyone to host at least one website. Eventually that is not related to coding. You can host your website on WordPress. It is pretty simple. You just have to configure a WordPress tool on your server, and yes, but obviously you will learn a lot of things by hosting a website. I mean, you will learn hosting, how DNS works, how IPs can be configured, how a host name, and there's a lot of things you will learn. I mean, the connection, HTTP connection, maybe you're gonna hit with the SSH connection. I mean, you're gonna
mm.
get the SSH connection, you will learn about the SSH key. There's a lot of things you will learn. So first thing, you have to host your website, and then you can move to the web security part, and that is basically OWASP top 10. Then you should learn OWASP top 10.
OS top 10.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Open web application security program.
Open Web Application Security Program.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite Linux?
um Ubuntu.
Same here, man. I like Ubuntu. Like people say Kali Linux, but I like Ubuntu personally like, more because like see
No, we
I'm an
can
IT
do everything
student.
in Ubuntu as well. That's not a issue, but we have to manually install each and every tool.
Hmm.
Kali Linux has a lot of tools that is not so important for me for now, at least. When I was learning, it was really important to learn all these
Hmm.
tools, and I will highly recommend each and everyone to use the Kali Linux because yeah.
Hmm. So I really liked your approach on Ubuntu and Kali Linux. I think a lot of students have a doubt which is better and which one like they should use. And like I don't think they need a separate computer file. They can just install a virtual machine on their computer and just use it, or they
Mhm.
can just
Yeah,
flash their pen drive
they can
on.
use both of the operating system. That's not a problem, so they will find the difference.
Mhm. I mean, I like my VM on my computer. It's fun to use it sometimes. It looks cool.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Hey Suresh, your camera went off.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ah, okay, we're back. Okay, so just I think we'll just wrap this up. One last question. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you were to go back,
Mm-hmm.
what path would you choose, and what would you tell yourself if you were to go back?
I mean, what are you asking?
Uh, what message would you give to your younger self when you were just made a decision after reading the bank incident that you want to become a cybersecurity guy?
See, if I go back and before 10 years back, I will still choose the same path that I have chosen.
So like there would be no advice to
Because
not worry
no,
or.
because 10 years back there was not so much resources online available. I mean, there's a lot of lack of resources before 10 years back. If you search hacking tutorials on YouTube, you will find nothing. At this age of era, you will find there's a lot of tutorials. But 10 years back, there was nothing available. So
Hmm.
whatever I have chosen, the path, it was right because I have learned without any guidance. So if I just go back 10 years back, so still 10 years back there was no resources. So yeah, I chosen the right path actually.
Hmm.
So because I learned myself, I learned by myself, and there was nothing like somebody taught me and somebody introduced me to the hacking. I've came to the any tutorials, and I've watched YouTube videos because I'm making YouTube video from the last 8 years, 9 years. If you just watch my YouTube channel, you will see 8 9 years uploaded video.
Hmm.
So before
What's your
10 years
YouTube
back, I
channel?
will choose
The same
Suresh
Actify?
Devrari.
Suresh
Yeah,
Devrari.
no, Suresh Devrari. Suresh Devrari.
Okay. I think I'll put the link in the description. Like, do you still
Yeah,
upload
sure.
videos over there?
Actually, I do not upload videos. It's just because if uh, most of the videos got deleted. But yeah, I actually love to
Hmm.
answer. If somebody want answer from my side, they can ask they can ask me on my Quora channel. You can just put the link in the description. My Quora channel. Just search Suresh Devrari on Google. You will find Quora channel link.
Hmm.
So if somebody has the question, they can directly ask me on Quora, and they can get connected on me LinkedIn, and they can ask me seriously.
Okay. So I think we'll wrap this up. It was a wonderful session. I really liked
Yeah,
having you on board, man. It was a really informative session. I
yeah.
really
Thanks a
liked
lot.
your journey. I mean, I really admire your efforts and your dedication in the field of cybersecurity. When at a time when you were like entering the unknown, because there was nobody to
Hmm.
like see look. There was nobody to look at when you just started, right?
Hmm.
So I think it can be much more. It's much more easier for people like me because now we have some people who are at the top and we have certain names. But okay, we can look up to these
Hmm.
people. Like, see, these people did things so and so way, and I think we start to feel that it's very very possible,
Hmm.
and I really respect that, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you for being on my show, man. It was a pleasure to have you.
Same to you. Thanks a lot.